Okay. So I quickly want to talk. Am my mic working? Hold on. Okay, good. Okay. I quickly want to talk about Wano. I figured it would be as good a time as now to talk about it. Mainly because I'm seeing, I don't want to say slander on my Twitter, but I'm seeing criticisms about it, and to me, they're just kind of overblown. So, and this isn't the first time that I've seen it. I've been seeing it for quite a while, right? So, with Chapter 1000 coming, I thought this would just be the perfect time for me to, you know, pretty much make this video, right? And actually, I probably should have put like a note, like a sticky notes or something to help me, like, you know, bring up points or whatever in this video. But this is just off the cuff. Like, honestly, this is like just straight off the top of my head, right? So where to start? So yeah, I mean, I guess I can just start from there. So, yeah, on Twitter, when I see people talk about One Piece, I see people talk about One Piece, specifically the Wano arc. I see a lot of people are not liking the Wano arc, or they think it's overhyped. Okay, fair. You know, everyone is fair. Everyone is free to have their own opinion. Everyone is free to think how they want to think, whatever, right? I'm not here to change anyone's opinion, right? But when I saw some of the criticisms on Twitter, what the hell is that? Okay. Well, sorry. A little notification just popped up. Anyway. When I saw these criticisms on Twitter, I just thought to myself, like, for me personally, look, everyone's, like I said, everyone's free to think how they want to think, but when I saw these, I just thought not only were these overblown criticisms, but I also thought about what I had said earlier, what I had told people earlier about One Piece, whether it was through DMs or message convos or streams or whatever, right? And that was that One Piece, for such a grand story, right, works okay as a weekly series, right? But the most enjoyment and the most hype is when you binge read it, especially for a super dense story like One Piece. And again, that's just my opinion, and I still think that's true, right? Because if you wait a week, if you wait a week for a chapter, right, for this 1,000 chapter long plus series, right, hype and enthusiasm and interest in the manga can die a little bit. You can still like it, you can still be interested in it, but you won't be as interested in it as, say, when you, I guess, were first catching up or when you first started it, right? So I think the fatigue of reading One Piece all these years has amplified or has elevated and amplified the quote-unquote problems that some people have with Wano. Now, again, this is not to call out anyone in specific or say that, you know, these fans are dumb or whatever. I guess I'm kind of just making this video just to give my own opinion on Wano, and that is, first of all, I think Wano is the best arc, post-time skip, easy, free. Like, it's not even a contest for me, right? I caught up to, or not I caught up, I caught up to One Piece like many years ago, but I finished rereading One Piece, I want to say, probably sometime mid-2020, so like June or July or something like that, right? I want to say that. It was definitely this year, right? And so I caught up, I think it was the Flying Six chapter, right? It was the Flying Six chapter, so I think, that was June or July or some shit like that, right? And that was like 20 chapters ago or something, right? Anyway, so that's when I caught up, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, man, this is like One Piece is so much more better, like, enjoyed on a binge read, in my opinion, right? At least for me it is, right? I like reading One Piece on a binge rather than reading it weekly, right? Now, that's not me saying that it should turn into a monthly manga like JoJo's Part 8 or anything like that, or Vinland Saga or anything like that, but at least for me, I like reading One Piece in bulk. Right, I like reading One Piece in bulk. I think that's the best way to experience it. But man, when I reread Wano, dude, like it wasn't even like a contest in my opinion, right? So let me just put this into perspective, right? I think a lot of people think that Dressrosa or Whole Cake Island, one of those two would probably be some people's other picks for best arc post time skip, right? I don't count Zoe or. For me, an arc, if you're 25 chapters, like, that doesn't count as an arc, like, in a long series, right? If it's a long ass series, right? Well, Let me actually deliberate and explain that a little better. Arcs in One Piece are generally like what, 50 chapters, 170, 80, however many chapters, right? So if it's 8 chapters like the Reverie, or 25 like Zoe, or 20 whatever it is, I don't really count those as arcs. Those are just sort of like, those aren't arcs. Those are just happenings of the plot. I don't count those as arcs, right? Whereas, arcs in Gintama, for example, which is like a serial sorry, an episodic kind of like series, right, with an underlying plot line. Arcs in that series tend to last what, like 20 chapters for the most part, until you get like to the end game of the series, right? But basically what I'm trying to say is that Wano to me is not only the best arc post time skip, but I think it is easily in the top 4 best arcs in the entire series. So in my opinion, from Alabasta to the end of Enos Lobby, that was when One Piece was at its best pre-time skip, right? And I think that Wano is not only going to reach those heights, it could possibly surpass it, right? We'll have to wait and see and all that, but at least for me, dude, I think Wano is like, I have a couple problems with Wano, but when I saw like some of these complaints on Twitter, so I saw one example, right, was when freaking Frankie, like on his motorcycle with Brooke, he came in that one chapter, and then he scuffed like his motorcycle's tire on Big Mom's face, and then people were saying like, oh my god, Big Mom is being treated like a little bitch, and then like Robin came and did like her little fucking whatever her hand powers are, right? Like she used that to like roll a Big Mom out of Kaido's palace, right? And people are saying like, oh my god, Big Mom is like, she ain't, she's not so much of a threat anymore. She ain't shit anymore. I mean, she's a Yako. She's supposed to be like all threatening and menacing. And I was thinking to myself like, dude, the only reason you're saying that now is because we've not only have we moved past Whole Cake Island, right? You may not have forgotten Whole Cake Island, right? But it's a prisoner of the moment mentality, at least in my opinion. It's a prisoner of the moment mentality. People are just reacting like what is happening now, instead of kind of looking like at the whole big picture, if you will. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but that's just how because like when I saw that complaint on Twitter, I was just thinking to myself like, dude, this is a Yonko. Like obviously she was not like hurt by it. Obviously she was not like, like greatly affected by it, or she, it's not like I don't know, something like say Dragon Ball Z, like when Gohan at the end of the Androids arc, he lost his arm and like lost half his ki or something like that, right? It wasn't anything like that. She just got fucking blindsided by someone who is significantly weaker than her, and that was it. You shouldn't react to it or treat it like this, oh my god, fuck Wano, like, oh my god, Big Mom is not, she ain't shit, right? Basically what I'm trying to get at is like when you look at the hype moments of Wano, first of all, think about like the opening of Wano, right? And again, I really wish I would have like listed everything here, but think about all the things I'm about to say about Wano, right? Kaido being a dragon, Kaido one-shotting Luffy, Luffy and Kid inside inside the prison, the reveal of all the different 9 scabbards, the Roger and Odin flashback, the Flying Six reveal, King and Queen, what else? Law, like all these different characters, right? All these freaking different, Marco appearing, right? All these different characters just all being a part of this, Hawkins, Apu, like all these characters, right? The interpersonal character relationships, the number of important characters that are being involved, and like all the hype ass events, not only the things that I just stated, things like Luffy learning Ryuo, or the second stage of Armament Haki, Zoro getting Enma, right? Zoro's past kind of being hinted at a little bit, right? You have like all these different things, right? And then people are just kind of like, Wano's really not all that. And to me, like, I don't think I've listed like all the moments that I wanted to list, but those moments that I've listed right there, just saying that alone, right, at least for me, makes Wano easily the best arc post time skip, right? And the other thing is when you compare it to, so I had problems with Dressrosa, right? I had problems with Dressrosa, and I had problems with Whole Cake Island, right? My predominant problem with Whole Cake Island was, Sanji's okay to me, like I don't love Sanji, right? But my biggest problem with it was that Sanji was treated too much like a damsel in distress in the Whole Cake Island arc, right? That was my biggest problem with it. On the other hand, I like Sanji's backstory, right? So it kind of like evens out, balances out a little bit, right? With Dressrosa, Law is my second favorite character in the series, right? Law's backstory was simply amazing. Corazon is one of my favorite characters, or Rocinante, he's one of my favorite characters in the entire series, right? But on the other hand, I didn't like Fujitora and what he did, or well, I like Fujitora, I just didn't like what he did during Dressrosa, right? And there was one other thing I didn't like. Oh yeah, and I didn't really like Doflamingo's characterization. I can spend a whole another video talking about that later, right? But so those are my predominant problems with those two arcs, right? I don't really have a predominant problem with Wano as of right now, right? I mean, we still haven't reached chapter 999, let alone 1,000 yet, right? But I don't really have too big of a problem with Wano. I'm trying to let me pull up a list right here real quick, right? So let me tell you guys what I've been doing. Whenever I read a chapter of One Piece, I just jot down like my notes or whatever, right? Or what I think about it, what I liked, what I didn't like, whatever. So I'll go to what I don't like about Wano so far, right? And I'll tell you like what stands out to me about what I don't like about Wano, right? So let me just see if I can find it first. Okay, let me expand this. Okay, yeah. So where is it? Fishman Island, Dressrosa, Wano. Okay, right. So maybe the only thing that really stood out to me was in chapter 918, Law saying murder isn't his style. Okay, like that kind of pissed me off because, you know, Law is the surgeon of death. Law is someone who has seen death. Law is someone who brought 100 hearts to become a warlord, right? He basically wanted to kill Dofi himself, and yet he says that murder isn't his style, right? That kind of doesn't sit well with me, right? What he told Toshigi when he beat her, like, losers don't choose how they get to die, right? That's probably like the only, at least for me, the only like glaring omission, right? Let's see what else. Sanji getting to fondle, or Sanji like nosebleeding at the women's bath when he got to fondle Nami's tits in Punk Hazard, right? That was in chapter 936, right? Luffy asking if he can go free from Queen when he already understands that pirates play dirty, right? So there's no, at least for me, there's no like big problem or big overarching continuing problem in this arc that those two arcs that I mentioned that they had, right? Any sort of problems that I have in Wano are very like circumstantial or momentary, right? They're circumstantial and momentary. They're not like overblown like arc long like problems, like what I was saying with those other arcs, right? I'm trying to think what else. Let's see what else. Yeah, pretty much. So that's why I think Wano is the best arc post time skip, right? And one other criticism that I've seen of not just of Wano but of post time skip One Piece compared to pre time skip is that the stakes are not as personal for the Straw Hats as they are pre time skip, and I think that is a valid criticism, but I think there's also an equally important valid counter argument to that. One Piece is a series that's going to go longer than 1,000 chapters, right? You can't have the stakes be personal for Luffy and Usopp and like all these characters through every arc. You can't do that, right? Or I mean, you can make it personal, but it can't be as personal, say, as, you know, Robin leave, or, you know, wanting to leave the crew and, you know, saying like, I want to live, right? Or Usopp fighting Luffy for going merry, or Sanji bowing down to Zeph and saying like, thank you so much, right? Like those sorts of things. And, you know, we kind of got that with Whole Cake Island, right? With Sanji. And we obviously got that with Law, even though he's not a Straw Hat in Dressrosa, right? But this idea that we need to get emotionally invested in the Straw Hats again post time skip, I think to me just doesn't make sense. We're already 1,000 chapters into One Piece. These characters are already developed. They are who they are. We've grown with them for years. We've read these characters. You know, we've read this series for years, right? We've quote unquote grown up. I don't want to make this corny or anything, but we've grown up along with them for years on end, right? So the idea that we need to get emotionally invested in them again I think just doesn't make any sense. If this was, starting at the beginning of the series, right, or maybe at the middle of the series, maybe then I can understand. But this is like, dude, we're 1,000 chapters in here. We're not. I don't expect to see things like, Shanks saving Luffy from the Lord of the Coast, or Zoro with Kuina dying, or Belmare dying, or like anything, or Hilaluk dying, or Tom dying, or like anything like that, right? I don't expect to get the sort of emotional high again because we are already at such an advanced stage in the One Piece story, right? That's not to say that it can't happen. It can happen. I'm sure when Luffy fights Shanks and there's some emotional, sort of what's the phrase? There's some sort of emotional context or some sort of emotional scene or something that's gonna happen. Sure, maybe. When he sees Sabo again, when he learns what happens to Sabo at the during the reverie at the end of Wano, I assume there's going to be some sort of emotional high to gain from that, right? Or Vivi or Boa Hancock or like any one of these characters, right? But my point is that to get emotionally invested again with the Straw Hat crew when we've been growing up with them for so long, I think is unnecessary. We don't need that. And case in point for me, dude, I just think that the highs of Wano easily outweigh like some of the cons that these people are talking about. Like, so not only the Big Mom stuff, I saw something about like Oda skipping fights, and they're like, because Oda skipped fights in Wano, it's not as good as Dressrosa. And I'm just like, dude, come on, dude. Like Dressrosa, what was not skipping fights, I want to say, but what was Fujitoro blocking Zoro's sword and then going away with Dofi then, right? What was Law fighting Dofi? We didn't see the whole fight of that, did we? He skipped that, but I didn't see anyone complaining about that, So, I guess I'm not that I'm frustrated. I'm not frustrated. I don't really even talk with One Piece like this with many people. I don't really talk One Piece on Twitter too much, at least with other people. I might send out like, a lot of One Piece tweets, but that's kind of just me, like, kind of like talking to myself. I only talk with really like 3 other people about One Piece, like, seriously, right? I'm not really part of the One Piece community. I'm part of a One Piece Facebook group, but I don't really converse with people on Twitter about One Piece a whole lot. I'm not part of a One Piece community. I never consider myself part of a One Piece community, and that's just how I am with most of my fandoms. Even for things that I like Yakuza or even Dragon Ball or Yu Yu Hakusho or anything like that. But yeah, dude, I mean, honestly, just look at all the hype moments for Wano. Look at all the different characters involved. Look at Kaido becoming a dragon, Kaido one-shotting Luffy, the prison stuff with Kid, Hawkins and Apu, the worst generation being a part of this, the Flying Six, the Odin flashback. Like, there's just a Big Mom coming alone, Marco, all the different Nine Scabbards. There's so many. Like, in this chapter, really, like, I think really sold it because the Devil Fruit reveals of all of the remaining Flying Six members, I thought was just like that really like just cemented like the awesomeness, not only of the chapter but just like it just added like another awesome moment for the arc, and Yamato, and all the stuff with Ace, who is my favorite character, right? We're probably gonna get an Ace flashback. Like, to me, all these criticisms and people that I see like criticizing Wano on Twitter, I just have to go back to all these other hype moments, right? And I think it easily, like, if I wanted to give like any sort of like weight to these criticisms, right? I'll say they're like on a scale of 0 to 100. I'll say they're probably like a 1, right? But all the hype moments, I'll say they're like 100, 103, 105, 99, whatever. I think they easily outweigh the criticisms. But yeah, anyway, that's just my opinion, dude. This video probably could have been a little better if I'd actually like sorted my thoughts out like on a notepad or something, and then actually taking the time to actually structure the shit out of this video. But I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing it. But anyway, yeah, Wano top 4 arc free in the series. Free.